Hello and welcome back to the Lettered Classroom for another live chat. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Bridget Spackman. I am the content creator for the Lettered Classroom. I am also a multi-age teacher in Central Pennsylvania, so I teach 4th, 5th, and 6th grade learners across all content areas. I love productivity and literacy and all things personalizing the education for our students. And yeah, I'm really excited to be here. I think in here, Lola girl, did you say that it was the last week before break? I feel you. It is the last week before break for me. And I am so unbelievably excited. I have a field trip planned in the middle there. So hopefully it's going to go really well. But I have to tell you guys, there is a lot of snow headed my way. Snow and ice. So I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good that tomorrow is going to be a snow day. Everybody is saying absolutely not. I've already gotten my hopes up. So we're just going to deal and see what ends up happening. All right. So hi guys. How are you all doing? How was your last week? So there was a full moon. It became a full moon at 12:12 on 12:12, and the next day it was Friday the 13th. I have to say, I'm a very superstitious person. I get that from my grandmother and my mom. Like, they won't put their purse down on the ground because they say it's like bad luck, you'll lose money. So I totally believe in the whole like full moon theory. Blaney has been totally wild. So I feel like he's my proof. So hi guys, how is everyone doing? So many of you that are always joining in. And can I just say how much I am really grateful for you to take time out of your day to come online and spend some time with me. So thank you. I uploaded my Secret Santa. Did you guys get a chance to see that? I mean, comment that in the little comments. Comment that in the comments. That made no sense. So did you guys see the Secret Santa? Have you watched everyone's Secret Santa? Who is your favorite so far? I'm joking. I would never do that to you guys. But I had Michelle Rose, who is now Michelle Thomas, as my Secret Santa. And like long story short, she lived or still lives, but is about to move about 5 or 10 minutes away from me. It is not a long drive from where she used to live. And it just amazes me that for the past 4 years, we have never run into each other at all, which is pretty incredible. So, yeah, I was just pretty blown away at that fact. But she's super sweet. Looks like she loved all of her gifts, which makes me really happy. If you have not seen her Secret Santa video, you have to go and check it out because I gave her Mexican, authentic Mexican candy. Y'all, this is the candy that I grew up on. Like, we would drive to Mexico in our van. I remember going to like the little tienda that was down the street from where my abuela's house was, and then we would just go and buy all this different candy. And it's like spicy, but it's like a sweet spicy, has a lot of chile in it. And so it was just hilarious watching that girl eat it. But kudos to her for just like squeezing it in her mouth. Trent is making a face because he hated every bit of it. But I grew up off of that food. I seriously did. So yeah, I just wanted to comment on that and tell her you did a great job, girl, for trying out that candy. So proud of you. So we have a presentation for you guys today, and I'm going to share it with you in just a moment. But I wanted first to chat about a couple of things. So one was the Secret Santa video. And then two, we are going to be doing a giveaway today. So for some of you who have not heard, my 2020 Digital Life Planner is out. It is launched. It is live. It is doing its thing. It's ready for all of the new plans that are going to happen in 2020. And I want you, if you would like to be considered for the giveaway, if you want to put your name in for the giveaway today, all you have to do is type in Secret Santa. Type in Secret Santa into the comments. Trent will do his magic, write all his sticky notes. We'll put them in a hat and we'll draw it at the very end of this video. So Secret Santa, that's all you have to put into the comments. He's looking for paper. Do you want this one? You want this? All right. Did I miss anything else? Is there anything else I needed to say before we get started?
Lifetime updates.
Oh, yeah. By the way, that's the other thing is that not only is there a new digital life planner, but I have finally put my like stamp of, yep, this is how I want it to be forever, ever type situation. And we are doing lifetime updates. So the moment you get this planner, you have access to it forever, ever. And lifetime updates, guys, that's a huge step for me because yeah, I love it. Like I finally have found it the way that I want it to work for me, and it's the thing. It's what I love. All right, can I have that keyboard, sir, so that I can maneuver my slides? So we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna do some maneuvering. I got my cameraman here, guys. So we're gonna get started with the presentation.
You got to scroll through.
I have to scroll through.
It's not on screen one.
Oh, I gotta be on screen one, guys. That's important.
Venti.
Oh, there it is. All right. Okay, so for today, I think the kids are going crazy downstairs. But for today, we are going to be talking about what do I include in my lesson plans. Now, some of you are probably seeing that Schoology sign and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. This is not for me. I don't have Schoology. Guys, hear me out. All right. Hold on. Stick with me because I promise you there is going to be something here for you. Getting an idea of how I like format my lessons for the week. What are some of the different activities I have my kids do? All of this is going to be inside of it. So this is like really secret stuff because I screenshotted all of the little folders inside of my Schoology account so that you can see what my students see on a daily basis. So yeah, you're going to see what my lessons are. What is it that the kids are doing? What does my progression look like? Now you're not going to see all of it, but you are going to see bits and pieces of it. And because I love literacy, I'm going to start with my literacy Schoology course, and then I'm going to jump into and do a little bit of my math at the very end for all you math lovers that are out there. So one of the really important things that I want you guys to keep in mind is when I talk about Schoology, in your head, you're probably like, well, what is that? It's a learner management system, an LMS. And to me, I always relate it to back up in the day when I was going to college, I had a Blackboard system. And that's where I would submit assignments or I would go through and do a discussion post. It is pretty much to me a Blackboard or a Google Classroom. It's very, very similar in those regards. So it's just another company that's out there that has its own LMS system. And that's what it is. It's just my learner management system. This is what my district chooses to use. And to be honest, I really, really love Schoology. I like their layout. I like the very clean design of it. It's just super friendly to me. I like the folder within the folder within the folder within the folder system. Makes me happy. So the way that we have our courses in Schoology is that I have one for each content area. I have one for ELA, I have one for math, I have one for science, and I have one for social studies. But yeah, so Juliet girl, you said that my volume is really, really low. Is everybody kind of hearing the same thing? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Debbie's saying that she can barely hear me as well. So we're having some volume issues, guys. Can you guys give me a thumbs up or a yes if you can hear me? If it's low, can you type in that it is low? Let me know how's it going on your end. I'll give you guys a second to put it in the comments because I know I'm delayed. Yeah, Unicorns is saying that it's a little low on there. Can you switch it?
I can try to switch it.
So we have two different mics set up, guys, and we're going to see if we can switch it to one of the other mics that we use to see if there's a little bit of a change. Oh, somebody said it's louder now. Better. I'm good. Good volume. I can hear you fine. It's better. It seems to be getting better now. All right. Okay, so I will try to use my big teacher voice, and maybe that will also help it out just a little bit. Okay, guys, so like I was saying, I have different courses for my content areas. So I have a social studies course, I have a science course, I have a ELA course, and then I have a math course. And my students, depending on what content area that we are in, they're going to go to that course in Schoology. So they see it like a bunch of their courses that they're assigned to on their iPads. And so once they select that course, they go into it and this is what they see. So they will see a welcome page, and in that welcome page, we try to give a little bit of information of saying, hey, welcome to this course. Here is what you're going to be doing this year with us. In our ELA course, we like to put in about reading 20 minutes every day and the research behind reading every 20 minutes. So we put that little blurb inside of it. And then we have two specific folders. The first one is for families, and those are any resources that we want to provide our families with to help encourage any sort of ELA instruction at home. And then we have a folder for learners. Now, this is where my students will enter to be able to gain access to any of the course materials. You with me so far? I hope so. All right. So here's the next part of it. Once they go into learners, they're going to see grades. Now, guys, I teach 3 different grade levels. 4 if you want to think about my students who are working on a year behind, that are either still trying to finish up some 3rd grade materials, or that's just kind of where they are in the curriculum. And they will see these folders. Now, depending on what skills that they are working on for that grade level, they're going to enter into that folder system. Word study is separate because it goes off of like red, yellow, blue, green or blue for words their way. And so learners will go into that colored folder, so it just looks a little bit different. It's not by grade level per se. Okay. Then what we'll see is going to be a breakdown of units. So this is an example of my 4th grade. When they go into it, they'll hit their grade and they'll see these units. Now, you only see, oh, Walter. Bless his little heart. I think he's trying to get out. So you will see only 3 units in there right now, because story elements, questioning and inferring, guys, those are huge units for us. They're big units. And so right now, all we have are a personal narrative, which we've finished already. We're currently in a creative narrative, and we're working in story elements for literature. So that's going to be what they see. Next, what they will go into, I think he was trying to get at paper. A little naughty pup. Can you go ahead and just shoo him out? Because I think he's going to start ripping on stuff. Sorry, Walter, honey. You can't stay. I think he actually ripped up a flower. Oh, he's so cute, guys. He's getting a little floppy hair. It's adorable. Okay. Are you guys with me? You're feeling good so far? All right. So the units are then broken down into lessons. Now, guys, this is the thing that I try to preach to so many people, because a lot of the times everybody's like, well, you can't put ELA into lessons because it spirals. Absolutely, I agree with you. It does spiral. But for me, it's really, really important that when I'm ready to give very explicit instruction explicit instruction where that's my focus. I want to have it in a lesson. And when we really think about it, our lessons is the progression. The progression doesn't change. The standards that we teach don't change. What changes is how we present that information, how we scaffold that information to our students. What resources, additional resources do we use to help support them in their learning? So I like to think of it as in a baby. When a baby is born, they have to learn how to hold their head up. From there, they're going to learn how to roll over. From there, they're going to learn how to sit up. And then they're going to start to learn how to crawl. And they're going to stand up. And then they're going to walk. That's the progression for learning how to walk. This is the exact same thing. It's a progression. You learn things in sequence. So they lend themselves really well when you do it in this sequence. So in the sequence that you're seeing here, this is for 4th grade. And this is for story elements. So we have the setting, we have major minor characters, extrinsic, talking about traits versus feelings, digging deeper into intrinsic characteristics, and then key events. And it keeps going and going and going. You guys feel me? Everybody good? Okay, for some of you who are just joining in, really quick, I want to say hi. There was a little bit of craziness that was happening with Walter, so you didn't miss much, I promise. But I did want to go ahead and say that if you are interested in getting yourself in for the giveaway today, we are doing a giveaway for the 2020 Digital Life Planner with free updates. In your comment box, you're going to type Secret Santa, and Trent's going to ferociously write your name down on a piece of paper. He's been working really hard at it. He's all caught up, guys. Come on, give him more names so he could be working really, really hard. All right. So that is kind of how I set up my Schoology folder. It's like a folder within a folder within a folder within a folder. What reference is that? Anybody know that reference? I do that to my students all the time. Although I don't know if that movie is an appropriate movie for my kids to watch. Is that a good movie for them? I don't know. So again, I'm going to kind of backtrack and remind you. So they go into learners, then they go into their grade level. From their grade level, they'll see the big units. And in those big units, they're going to see the lessons. All right. Now let's.
On a couple of the questions.
Oh, yeah. What do we got?
Do you have an example for primary level? And is it possible to have multiple entries? Oh, and that's for the giveaway. No multiple entries.
Sorry, no multiple entries.
Do you have an example for primary level?
So absolutely, primary level can do this for sure. Now, when I think about it in a primary level way, I envision something that's done more with oral pieces, or if they're putting and submitting anything that's a writing, they're taking pictures and they're uploading that piece. But primary is the exact same way, guys. Like, you still have to have that progression. They need to learn their ABCs. They need to learn certain sight words before they're able to start using any kind of formatting sentences. And once they're formatting sentences, that's only going to increase, and they're starting to create their stories from that. So you have to have a very natural progression with how you teach it. And even when we teach letters and sounds, a lot of the times you don't teach it in an A, B, C, D, E, F, G order. You're teaching it with those phonetic sounds, those sounds that kids are capable of making developmentally first. So like a that's a sound that you usually start to hear very, very young. That's one of the first sounds that kids they're able to make. When you start to get to the wah and the qua, those start to get really, really difficult, and they tend to be a little bit later developmentally. So you think of it in that way, and it's the exact same thing. And so I'll also be sharing at the very end of this how I would set this up, even if I did not have one-to-one devices. So stay with me. I promise I will be getting there. Okay. So jumping into it, to me, this is the good stuff, guys. This is the stuff right here where you get a lot of information from. So here is how Or here is what one of my lesson folders would look like. So this is what I would do in a typical week, week and a half, depending on how crazy it is or how much support my students need, the level of difficulty of a lesson. And this is what it would look like. So I have everything inside of that lesson folder, and I put it in sequential order on how we're going to be completing those assignments. So I put like a little key in there. So you're going to see like a piece of paper with a pencil. That's called an assignment. The kids will submit something to me, whether it's a graphic organizer, whether it's some sort of a sort that they took a picture of and they submitted that to me, whether it's they find something in a book and they complete like a pic collage assignment where they have to put their thinking on the side of the margin and they send that to me. It can truly be anything. From there, you have the little talking bubbles, and the talking bubbles are discussions. And the discussion is where we're truly having a conversation back and forth. So I will pose a question to them, and they will go in and they will answer it. And I make kids respond and go back and forth with what it is that they're talking about. So I want them to have some sort of collaborative discussion in process. That was Blaine. I'm sorry. What I tell y'all, it's been a crazy weekend. The last thing that you're going to see are the little puzzle pieces. Now, those puzzle pieces are assessments. I try and assess like a formal assessment at least once a lesson. There are some lessons that I don't consider them and having like a formal assessment because I feel as though the kids should already really know that, or I might say, I might try to assess that formally in another lesson combined with this other topic, if that makes any sense. So those are the three types of activities that I'll have my students complete. So you guys will see in there, I have the book that I'm going to read with them with. That was my mentor text. With my mentor text, I had a vocabulary lesson that they had to complete. Then they had a collaborative piece, which in this case, it was the chapter 1 of the book, The Lawn Boy. So if you ever go back or you screenshot this, guys, you're able to like zoom in to really see what it says. So screenshot that. And then you also have lesson 4, which is the independent. This is what I want my students to be able to go back and do by themselves so I can see where they are in their thinking and in the learning process. And they did it on the book Jumanji. And majority of the times, along with that independent book, they're going to have a very simple assessment. Now, this was a quick check for them. I wanted them to see, like, comprehension-wise, what did they understand? So it has a lot of literal questions, inferential questions. All of those pieces are in that. Everybody good? Okay, I'm going to take a second. I'm going to, like, take a breather because I feel like I'm going super fast. And I want to see what questions do you guys have. So, Alexis, you asked, do you share course folders with your team teachers? Yes. Because we are a MAC team, all 3 teachers have access to the same folders. So we all 3 keep our materials in the exact same folders. So when it comes to grading, it's a hoot because we're going through and we're looking and we're like, oh, wait, I don't have that kid. I don't have that kid. She has that kid. So it's always really interesting. But we finally have gotten to the point where if we're grading and we're on a roll, I grade theirs as well because I'm on a roll and I can usually get through them pretty quickly. But yes, they're all in the same Schoology course. All right, I'm still looking for a few others. I think I'm gonna try to lower this guy. Ooh, that's much better. So Leslie, you commented and asked, is this for 5 days or longer? I typically try to keep it within a 5-day lesson, typically. Now, depending on how much instruction I need to give my kids, how much support I need to give my kids would depend on how long it would end up being. Majority of the times, I'm able to do it within a 5 to the max, maybe 7 days of instruction. And I tend to do really, really well around that mark. But when I think of like my lessons, and I always relate this to the bridging literacy method, I always talk about how, oh, you have like 5 different types of lessons that you're going through, which is going to be the engagement day, you're reading your book, then you have your skill day, your author's craft day, you have your grammar, and then you have your reflection. But those typically end up getting stretched out because I spend, especially if the skill is really difficult, I spend a little bit of extra time in that collaborative stage where I will sit the kids back down and we will go over what their collaborative work was so that they can revise their work and resubmit to get a better grade. So that's normally how it typically will flow. So Lola, you asked, so is your MAC team like a PLC? Um, no, it's not. So the way that my school will work is that before there was a MAC team, we had something called vertical teams. Well, it was because we're always working horizontally. So meaning I was always working with my 4th grade teachers, right? Because I taught 4th grade. Well, the purpose of our vertical team was not only to get us thinking horizontally, but thinking vertically. Meaning, if I am your 4th grade teacher, I need to think about what is it that you're doing to help, that I need to be working on to help them be ready for 5th grade. And so it caused more collaboration and more of a vertical alignment versus just a horizontal alignment. So what it's not a PLC. What the MAC team is its own vertical team essentially, but we keep them for all 3 years between all 3 teachers, if that makes sense. We have more flexibility and movement that happens within our team, which is really nice. Okay, so I'm going to keep going on. So the question is writing. How does writing fit using the bridging literacy method? Because that is probably the more abstract thing that you have to think about. So really quick, I'm going to put a plug in to my bridging literacy community members. For those of you who are members, hi, I hope you are all well. But what Bridging Literacy Community is just truly a community of like-minded teachers who are really wanting to focus on the instruction of their literacy, their reading and writing for their learners within a 4th, 5th, and 6th grade grade level. And what we do in this community is I try to give you a lot more things to think about. Any resources that I use in my classroom, I provide those resources to my Bridging Literacy community members. And we also have really good and deep conversations. A lot of the times people will go on there, they'll ask a question, and I'm there to be able to answer it in detail, fully in detail. I always give a lot more of my time to my Bridging Literacy community members more than I will to, let's say, like my YouTube or my Instagram. Those tend to kind of go behind my BLC members. So if you are interested, you can head over to theletteredclassroom.com, hit on plans, and when you click on plans, you will see 3 different plans. The free plan is what you're doing right now. You're watching me on my live while I'm live. Now, you don't get access to anything else other than what you're doing right here on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern with me. If you do the $7 a month, you gain access to everything within the Bridging Literacy community. So all of the resources that I put up, whether it's Anchor charts or, which by the way, that's coming up, BLC members, I have a bunch of Anchor charts that I've been working on and I cannot wait to share them with you all. So some Anchor charts or graphic organizers or checklists, anything that I use in my instruction, I provide that to my BLC members in that community. So go and check it out, theletteredclassroom.com, and then just hit plans. There's a $50 plan for the year, which is like $4 a month. It's a really, really good deal. Okay, so let's talk about writing and how this fits. So with Bridging Literacy, I need to remind you guys that I don't teach a reading group and a writing group. I got rid of it. And the reason for that was because I wanted my students to see the connections. But I also started realizing that a lot of what I was teaching in reading was necessary in order for them to become better writers, right? We already know that. The way that our kids read is typically the way they are going to write. So what I would then do is I would teach my reading skill, and then I would have my students really think about how are they going to apply that to their writing. So I really looked at the curriculum itself, and I tried to come up with how is it that I'm going to group this in a way that it makes sense. And y'all, it's amazing that if you're able to really sit down and look at the curriculum itself, it all really fits like a puzzle piece. It's like it is so beautiful in how it is written and the fact that it all just works. So I stopped teaching two different groups, and I have a reading and my writing are all meshed into one. Now, when I get to that, I don't want to have my writing instructional materials mixed in with my reading lessons. And here's one reason why is because it's just messy. It will get really, really clunky. There will be too many assignments in there. The kids will get confused. But I also wanted to make sure that the standards that I was hitting, they were the right standards. So it allowed me to organize it in a better way. So if you remember, back when they would click into either their 4th, 5th, or 6th grade folder, there was a personal narrative folder, a creative narrative folder, and then a story elements. Right now, we are in the creative narrative folder. Try to say that 5 times really, really fast. I feel like that would jumble me up all over. So right now, we're working in the creative narrative folder. So when they click in creative narrative, they're going to see it by weeks. I know that's different. It's not by lesson, it's by weeks. Because I try to keep my writing to about 3 at the most 4 weeks. And typically that's because there's days off, there's half days, there's, snow days, there's all these different things that are happening. You have your, what are they called? Like fundraisers that you're doing, things that just make your schedule crazy. That's where this comes into play. So I have it down by week to help keep me in track, keep all of us on track. And so that's what you're going to see there. The CN just simply means creative narrative. That's all it means. So yeah. All right. Unicorns, I love you so much. Is Secret Santa like a code or something? Girl, you were late to the party. Why? Good job, Lyle. Snow days? What are those? Do you not have any of those? Where are you? I don't understand. I felt like you were...
I was thinking New Jersey-ish, but I have no idea. I don't remember, I guess.
That's so funny. All right. We got to get you caught up with us. So, yeah. Debbie, you asked, is bridging literacy geared for more of 4th, 5th, and 6th graders? No, it's not. You can absolutely do this within any grade level. And here's why. When I taught kindergarten, I noticed a direct correlation. I think any kindergarten teacher out there is going to notice that direct correlation of the way that my student is reading is directly going to be, it's going to relate directly to how they're going to write. So if I have a student who's reading, I see a cat, I see a bird, how do we want them to write? I see a, baseball, I see a, and they're probably just going to give you beginning sounds on obviously those bigger words. But it was directly related to how they were reading. So even then, I remember doing these huge lessons in kindergarten, and a lot of the times I had kids who were really, really good writers who were writing like 5 or 6 pages for a story, and then I had kiddos who were only doing 1 page, and they were writing 1 sentence because that's where they were. So instead of doing all of that, I could really just focus it into that one group and really just meet with that one group of kids and say, here's where we are. Let's practice the writing. Now I need you to go out and I want you to finish it. And that goes back to a lot of what I did in Super Centers. How many of you guys remember that? Anybody in here in this chat? Unicorns, girl, there is snow coming. I promise. How many of you were around when I was in kindergarten? Can I just get any sort of acknowledgement on that? So I used to talk a lot about Super Centers because y'all, I hated the Daily Five. Like, hated the Daily Five. When my kids were sitting there and they were just tapping violently, like ferociously at the chart, the chart center. Oh, that was driving me nuts. And then they would sit with their dry erase markers on those really cute little mats that I would make that were thematic and they were adorable. And Trent had spent lots and lots of time laminating and cutting out all those little pieces. And all they would do is sit there and draw circles with their expo markers. That drove me crazy. By the way, guys, that doesn't change as they get older. They still do that. In fact, now they're drawing, they're coloring, but then they erase a little bit and they're trying to pull the expo ink up, which they can actually do. It's pretty interesting, but at the same time, it's very distracting. So yes, but yeah, you can absolutely do this for any grade level. It works beautifully. The ELA curriculum is meant to be that way. The only reason we are teaching two separate courses, a writing course and a reading course, is because of state testing. Because testing out there has created an urgency to want to teach things separately when it's not meant to be taught separately. Reading and writing should always be taught together, and bridging literacy fixes that. All right, I'm done. I'm done preaching to the choir here. All right. So creative narrative week 1. I'm going to show you guys what that looks like. So again, I want you to screenshot this so that you can blow it up later and you can look at all the little bit of writing that I have in these courses. So we have, this is my example for my week 1 creative narrative that we finished. So the first thing that they had to do was brainstorm. They had to brainstorm their story ideas. What were the different topics that they were going to write about? Now we're doing fractured fairy tales. It's going to fit really in line with our project-based learning that we're going to have in the spring. And so that's what we wanted them to write about. So they have their fractured fairy tale. They had to come up with a bunch of fairy tales, folk tales, fables, anything that they really, really enjoyed and shared in the discussion board. And they had to tell why they liked that story. From there, we had them brainstorm their fractured fairy tales, but looking at it from a different perspective. We wanted them to really think about, okay, so here's this character. Here's how I'm going to change this character in my story. Here's the character in the original, or here's the events in the original. Here's how I'm going to change it just a little bit in my story. By the way, guys, if you want to know, I'm doing Beauty and the Beast. Yes, it is set in central Pennsylvania. It is 2019. Belle is a librarian, and Mr. Beastly is the heir to the family fortune. The books talk. It's really adorable. I should make this into a storybook. I think I am. It's my own fractured fairy tale. It's going to be on Amazon soon, guys. Look out for it. I'm joking. Okay, so once they did that and they got their little stamp of approval from us, then they had to brainstorm the events. Guys, I preach this just so many times. Brainstorming is so important. You cannot brainstorm just once. You cannot brainstorm and not go back and revise it. Students need to revise their thinking. They need to get down their thoughts first before you send them off just to simply write. We can't keep letting them just start writing without getting them to flesh out their ideas first. Because if they haven't fleshed out their ideas, it's not going to make sense in their writing. It's not going to be well organized. It's not going to be developed, which is what the standards say they need to be able to do. So they brainstormed the events from there. Then we had our mentor sentence that they had to complete an assignment for, duplicate that sentence, and then put it up. And then finally, I had some IXL practice for that grammar focus that I wanted them to complete. So they did that on IXL and submitted that. But that is 1 week, all right? One week. Okay. My math teachers, I did not forget about you. I feel like I've been talking a lot. I did not forget about you, math teachers. Let me show you what we have. So math, of course, starts out the exact same way, has a welcome page. Then the kids go to their grade level folder. So they would go to 4th, 5th, or 6th grade resources. From there, they go, and you can screenshot this again, guys, because I know it's super small, especially if you're watching it on a phone. Blow my face up on the TV, guys. It would be really blurry. I'm sorry. We're trying so hard. So again, math is broken down into units. And so we have like, for 5th grade that's what I focus on. That's what I teach. I have place value, multiplication for decimals, division, measurement, all of those. Now you're going to see like, you're probably like, where's addition and subtraction? A lot of the times, guys, my kids, they do like practice for 3 days and they master it. Like they know how to add and subtract. They just need to understand that they have to line it up on the decimal. So I don't really go into it a ton. I'm just going to be honest. So it's broken down into the units. The units also, you're going to notice that it has the I can statements already on there so that students understand the progression that they're going to have to complete when they go into that unit. From there, we go into skill folders. So once they click on the unit, they go into the skills. They have grouped skills, which allow them to hit one of those I can statements, if that makes sense. So, Jane, what's a mentor sentence? Let me tell you all about mentor sentence. I'm going to pause, math teachers. Please don't hate me. So I see Jane Dot, you said, what is a mentor sentence? So a mentor sentence is truly just one sentence from your mentor text. So remember when I showed you the example of when we were doing Hansel and Gretel? In that book, I went in and I found one sentence that I really wanted to focus on. And for that lesson, I did a grammar lesson. I focused on parts of speech. I focused on the variation of the sentence. I focused on conventions. The kids worked through those pieces, but then they would have to duplicate whatever it was. So I had dialogue as one of my sentences. I chose one that had dialogue, and I really wanted the kids to focus on that piece of it. So when they went back out to do their work, they then had to create a sentence for their own writing piece. That is important. It's not any sentence. I want it to be specific to what it is that they are writing, and I model that for them. So they're going to use their story, create a sentence that is then going to go into their story because I want them to place it into it. And they will submit that. We'll do some other work, some partner activities with it, but it's a focus. So they're constantly getting that practice of the parts of speech. They're getting the conventions. They're getting the sentence variations, all of those different pieces that I really want them to focus on. That's what it is. That's our mentor sentence. It's like the focus, and we build our lessons around that. I hope that helped to answer your question. Okay. Janae, you asked, I'm assuming Schoology is similar to an online class. So yes, absolutely. It's a learner management system, very similar to like a Google Classroom. Absolutely. Now, if you don't have one-to-one devices or you don't use this setup in your school, I'm going to share in just a little bit how you can utilize this. Okay, so back to math. We have our skills folder that hit a certain I can statement. So you're going to notice here that in multiplication, we have 15 total skills that the kids have to work through. Typically, on a given day, my students are able to get through one skill a day. All right, one skill. So when you click on that skills folder, it will then open up the skills that it's supposed to contain. So for instance, if 1 through 6, you're going to see all of the individual folders 1 through 6 underneath that. So those will then have inside of them all of the lesson material. So the kids know that, oh, I'm working through the lessons. Now I have y'all this huge board up in my classroom, and it's like the grid, and it has every single skill number, and the kids kind of walk themselves through it. It's fantastic. It motivates them. They get really excited about it. It's just, it's a huge motivator in my classroom. So Inside of that skills folder, if you were to click under one of those, then you will see all of the assignments. If after skill 1, which is just the pre-assessment and the vocabulary, you get into the real meat of it. And I will always have a video, corresponding video lesson, a notes that goes along with that video lesson. I will have classwork, which is something collaborative. I will have extra practice, which is an independence. And then finally, I have my quick check, which is an assessment. I want to just it's like an exit ticket. You want to get a general idea of, do you understand the concept, the content? And that's every single folder. Now, of course, I have other activities that I can give students, especially if they're not really understanding or grasping that skill. I have different activities. I have folders in my room. I have games. I have additional practices online that they can do. So it really just depends on the student per se. Okay. So this is all good and great. However, what if I don't have one-to-one devices? What if I don't have a Google Classroom or Schoology or something to that extent? What do I do? Guys, this is not only great for my kids, but it's great for me because it helps me to keep track. It gives me the end, the place that I'm trying to drive to. I know the end of my journey, where I'm going and how I'm going to get there. There's none of that guesswork, which a lot of the times I feel like if I was teaching a lesson before, I would feel like I would find something on Pinterest and I would get super distracted. It's like I was taking all these detours. And so it would take me twice as long to get to the end of the unit than what I needed to have in the first place. This makes my lessons, my instruction very purposeful. Now, there's nothing that says that I can't detour, that I can't do an extra activity, that I can't do something fun, but it just keeps me on track more often than not. So what if I don't have that? Here's an example of what I do for my content. So in my content area, I have it by lessons. And what we do is we go by Webb's depth of knowledge. So you have different levels. There are 4 different levels that increase in the amount of, or the difficulty in the skill. So you start with your lower level and you get higher as you go into those level 4s. And so the students know that they have to complete these in order. So we start with a lot of the vocabulary and just kind of remembering certain things. Then we go into the comparing, contrasting, the revising, the analyzing, the creating. All of those come later, but I have it in this bin. You can use a file folder. You can use a bin like this to hold student materials. Now, if you want to think, hun, can you hand me that binder? Such a good husband, guys. Give him a round of applause. If you want to think about this, not just for your students, but maybe more so just for you and to help you in your instruction, you could very easily do a binder. So everything you just saw, got stuff falling out of it, guys. Everything you just saw, I do it in a binder like that, literally. So all of the materials are in my lessons are in here. And so you don't have to have what you see here with Schoology. You can do it in a binder. You can do it in a file system. It's something that just helps you to organize your curriculum in a way that just makes sense. It gives you a progression so that you know where you're going in your curriculum. I hope that makes sense. All right. Hi.
Jane asked, you said that there's a video in each one.
Sorry. Somebody made me giggle.
Oh. Did you see that? You said there's a video in each lesson. Do you make the video?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Repeat the question in case they can't.
So the question was, in the math folders, I have videos. Do I make the videos? Yes, I do make the videos. Now, they can vary. It's literally like, I don't go fancy like I do with these videos. I put my iPad up and I'm on the floor with the notes page that I give them, that I want them to complete, and I'm filling it out and I'm talking through it. Yes, it's tedious. Yes, it takes time. However, I didn't have to do any of that this year because it was done. And so I'm feeling great, guys. I have it all finished. I either do that or using Explain Everything, which is a phenomenal app. You can record all of your lessons and while you're writing on your iPad, and that will allow you to be able to upload it, and they can hear everything as you're walking through it, and they could be writing their notes at the same time. So I do one of those ways. And guys, these are very quick lessons. They're about 3 to 5 minutes max. They're not meant to be long, because math it should for them be very literal. They should try and figure it out by using some of the previous skills that they've learned. So it's like solving word problems. They should be able to figure out, oh, if I do this and this makes sense because I have a really good level of understanding of place value. So I know that if I do A, B, and C, it's going to produce X, Y, and Z. So that's kind of my justification for that piece of it. Okay? How's everybody feeling? Good? Where'd my live chat go, yo? I can't see it. Oh, man. Oh, I see it. Nope, I'm good, guys. All's well. So last thing, and then I can answer a few more questions for you guys, right? Like, I have 8 minutes, and then I got to talk to Michelle for like 2 or 3 hours, literally. The new 2020 Digital Life Planner is out with free updates. I love this planner. It has amazing realty space, which just means you have more space to be able to write. I love the layouts, the design. It's so simple that you will want to reuse it every single year. So Trent is like ferociously tearing all of your names, and we're going to put them into a box. So how about right now?
What about, are you going to talk about a potential meetup, some adventure, the conference type stuff?
Should I talk about it? Oh, okay. So let's just chat, guys. Let's have a little chat for a second. What would you think? So I'm in Central PA. Okay, let's say around the Lancaster area. I don't know how many of you are around the Lancaster area, but Michelle and I were possibly thinking of having a very cheap meetup / conference where we would spend a day. We would do some really fun organizational productivity. We would get some lessons. We would just hang out with you guys. We would have lunch with you guys for a very low cost. Like, I'm saying like $49, so that we can cover the cost of like the food for everyone and the venue for where we want to have it. Would you guys be interested in coming and just hanging out with us for a day? And we would chit chat about lessons. We would chit chat about productivity, organization. I would talk to you about literacy if you wanted to hear me talk about literacy, because maybe that's your thing. And yeah, so I would love to know, like, is that something that you guys would totally be down for? Or will you be like, oh, I don't know. I like you on the other side of the screen. Maybe not in person. I promise I don't smell. I don't. I shower. Okay. Janae, honey, you said, does this take place of my actual direct instruction? In math, yes, it does. So I operate in a flipped classroom setup where, because the 5th grade curriculum in math can you get me out of the full like view? Here, I'll hand this back to you. Good husband here, guys. It's taking care of me. So because the 5th grade curriculum is mirrored, meaning it is a direct, it's so unbelievably identical to the 4th grade curriculum, minus the fact, well, adding the fact that you're putting in decimals. That's it. Kids typically will go through it very quickly, especially if they have a very solid foundation in those 4th grade skills. So yes, it does take the place of my instruction, but I am constantly meeting with kids individually to make sure that they have a good understanding. I am making sure that I'm providing them with enough feedback that they're able to say, oh, I really don't understand what I'm doing here. And so I need to meet with Mrs. Spackman. And so they have the opportunity to set up for conferring times by just writing their names on the board, and I'll meet with them. So that's kind of how it works. Now in reading, it's different. I do meet with my groups, but not in math. We operate it in a little bit of a different format. Okay.
We're ready. Ready?
What are you doing? Yay, it's snowing. Oh gosh, I really want it to snow.
You want to put it in this?
Ooh, Bath and Body
Free
Works.
Bath and Body Works commercial.
Guys, this is not sponsored by Bath and Body Works. However, if anybody would like to sponsor these live chats, I like fancy equipment. I'm sorry. All right. How many am I doing?
3.
3? We'll do 3 people. Okay. I gotta mix it up really good. All right. First person for the 2020 Digital Life Planner is... Oh, bless. I hope I say your name right. Cheryl Schneck. Schencck. Cheryl, girl, you are a winner. Chicken dinner is what Blaine would say. Congratulations. You have a 2020 Digital Life Planner. How do you want them to do this?
Emails. Bridget, I'll add that.
Okay, Trent's going to add that. Email us at bridget@theletteredclassroom.com. Just let us know that you are a live chat winner. Okay, second person. Oh, okay. Shazana Ali Hassan. I am awful at this. I teach reading and writing. You are a winner. Congratulations. Again, can they see those names whenever I put them up? Or are you going to post their names? Okay. Look in the comment box because I suck at saying names. I'm really, really sorry. All right. Last person. Megan Green. Congratulations, guys. For those of you who did put your names in there. I know. It's all good. I promise there will be other giveaways, right? Next week. Same time, same place, another giveaway. But you are all here, hun. You want that one too?
I may have written her last name wrong. That may be part of our problem.
You are a winner. So make sure that you email us at bridget@theletteredclassroom.com. And we'll be sure to help you gain access to your 2020 Digital Life Planner with free updates. Yay! Guys, give them a round of applause. Good job. Alexis, girl, you are so nice. I just wish I could meet you in person. I would hug you. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Because I'm about to get off so that I can jump on with Michelle from Pocket Full of Primary. My Sunday nights are busy, but that's okay. Oh, you guys are all really nice. Did we miss any other questions?
There was one right at the end. Did you already get that?
Ooh, okay. Finding joy in 5th grade. How many minutes are you in for your math block? So my math block is an hour and 10 minutes. Now, for some of my kiddos, about twice a cycle, which is 6 days, they will lose about, I'm thinking in my head, they will lose about 15 to 20 minutes because they're in activity period. But they tend to make that up by taking it home for homework. So a lot of the times I always have my kids come in their agenda, they have to write down their top 3 that they want to complete for the day. So they would write down, I want to finish skill 6 notes, skill 6 classwork, and extra practice. And so if they don't get that done for the day, they have to take it home and complete it for homework. So it still roughly gets them around that 1 skill a day mark, and it makes sure that they don't fall behind, if that makes sense. Okay. Anything else?
Alexis is asking about different colors.
Ooh, Yes, so we are going to do different colors. Because my teacher planner is more of that rainbow feel, I did have quite a few people say, I don't like how they're the exact same because maybe they use both the teacher planner and the digital life planner. So I figured, okay, we're going to do it in a blue gradient. I think I also want to do it with a green because I love green. Y'all know it's my favorite color.
We're
And
trying to
then,
commit to updating those all every year, are we?
yeah,
Whoa, you're crazy.
it's copy and
There will
paste,
be
copy and
different
paste,
versions
copy and
each
paste,
year.
copy. There will be. Okay, so either way, we will have those updates and then we are going to come out with another rainbow one. So the rainbow one is going to be in there, but it's probably not going to be there until what, like another week?
For
Next
the
weekend?
color?
Yeah, next weekend.
Yeah, I don't know. We're working on it.
By next weekend, hopefully, is what we're going to try to get done. We've got people to come and look at the kitchen. Like there's a whole thing going on down there. Okay. Juliet, absolutely. They need to be given simple work assignments. I think it is an absolute doable thing. Back when I was in kindergarten, I had something called super centers, and that was simple work assignments. It was something that I wanted them to be able to work on by themselves and learn how to submit. I know they were 5 and 6 years old, but I still felt like they were capable of doing it. I think a lot of the times we say, oh, they're so young, they can't do this yet. Yes, they can. They are absolutely capable of doing it. And so I really, really pushed my kindergartners to make sure that they turned in those assignments. And what I found is that they had so much more independence that they were excited about it. They wanted to do it. They wanted to complete that work and they wanted to turn it in because they felt a sense of accomplishment, which was really, really important. So, yes, absolutely. It is very doable. I would go back and look for maybe one of my super center videos. I also have, I think, is it two resources? I think there's a weather resource in my store, and there's also was it a St. Patrick's Day? Yeah, right? Because I did it with the guy with the beard, the leprechaun. But you can go and look at those resources, and that would give you an idea of what I would put in their super center. So if that helps at all. Okay, what kind of case do you have for your iPad that holds the pen? Okay, so I have a Logitech. So my Logitech comes with a keyboard that snaps. Hold on one second, I'll show you. Oh, I don't think I can grab it. You want to go and grab it for me?
What am I getting?
My case that's right there that Walter decided to knock down. So my iPad comes with this like case, this keyboard here that just snaps on like this. So this is the iPad Pro. It's the older, it's like the second generation. You can get one of the newer ones that it's out. And I know, Daniel, I'm gonna make you get back up. I'm sorry. Let me have that one. If you don't have an iPad Pro, but you're looking into getting an iPad, I know that they came out with a newer iPad. Which one is this one? So 2019 version.
2019.
This is a 2019 version. It's not an iPad Pro, it's just your normal iPad, but they have the same new features that the iPad, like some of the features that are like really slick and awesome that come with an iPad Pro now come with this one. So this one will snap on with a smart case and it has, I'm gonna see if I can show it to you guys. It's like really on there. And it comes with a little keyboard like this. So you can get one of these and they work fantastic as well. So they have a lot of the newer features from the iPad Pro on the 2019 version. So highly recommend. I'm an Apple snob. It's really bad. I have a problem, guys. Severe problem. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. I'm really, really sorry. Join me next week, 7 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know what time that is for everybody else. I lie. That's 6 p.m. Eastern or Central for some of you, but 7 p.m. Eastern for me.
Types of pens. This is a good question.
What do you mean?
Somebody asked, what are some good suggestions for types of pens?
Types of pens? For what?
I think like that erasable pen.
Ooh, My erasable pen, I love erasable pens. I have friction erasable pens that are like to die for. Like they are amazing. Look in that drawer and see if you can see the highlighters as well. So I also have highlighters, y'all. I'm obsessed with these. Yeah, give me that yellow one. So this one is I found these at in Target. Target. This is the Friction Colors erasable. I think these are highlighters. Y'all, these are so great. I grade papers with these. And so if I screw up, if a kid comes back and says, Mrs. Spackman, this is truly like the right answer. You messed up when you graded. I can easily erase it and change their grade on it. So I don't have to do the whole, oops, no, this is okay. I can actually erase it. So it comes in a ton of colors. Then you have the Friction erasable pens like these that are a little bit skinnier. But yeah, love Friction pens. Okay, am I good? Can I get off now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to get off now because Michelle's probably like, girl, where are you at? It's like 5 minutes past. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining in on this live. I'll see you all next week, 7 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye.